Hey guys, welcome to the Jamly Chick tonight. Tonight we have Jamie and Vinny coming on stage,
Hello.
and we also have a special guest tonight. His name is Jeremy from Peak the Band, and we are excited to have him with us. And thank you, Jeremy, for coming on tonight.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we got lucky because Jamie knows this amazing musician, and she was like, "You've got to check this band out." And I checked them out, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" I don't know if y'all have seen that little meme where the little boy here recently, he's like, I was expecting to say it's not that bad, it's not that good, it's okay, and but it's really good. I want to take another bite. So this was my same reaction with the band when I heard it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this. And so you've just been on repeat nonstop and even in the shower. And now that's a big thing. If you get shower time in my land, that's a big thing to get the shower playlist. So you definitely have to check out Peak the Band for sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, I know tell us, I mean, Pete the Band, y'all been around for a little while, but you're still, growing and in the process of growing. So where are you from? Where are y'all based out of?
So we're in Brooklyn, New York City. We all live in Brooklyn, I think at this point. And I started the band. I had a band before this called Turbine for a number of years. And I started this band, I guess like 6-7 years ago, and made an album, the first album, Electric Bouquet, basically by myself. Wrote the songs and had some different musicians play on it, and Dave Brandwine from Turquoise produced it with me, and I bought a van because I knew I was going to need a van. I didn't have a van. So I made an album. I bought a van and started playing. And then I started looking for more permanent band members. And I found Keto, the drummer who I knew from Ficus and Particle. Found Josh Carter, bass player from Haley Jane. And then my friend Johnny, it was our keyboard player. He was never in the jam band scene. He actually didn't know any of this music really. I mean, he knows a lot of music, knows jazz and like fusion, all this stuff, but he never really been to a Fish show, whatever. So we brought him in,
That.
and that formed like this group that's now been together. I think 2019 was when the four of us played together for the first time. So this is the longest I've ever had for a band that stayed together. All my previous bands, like, usually somebody coming or going. So this is like consistent. Yeah. We just released our second album together. It's the third Peak album, but it's the second one that we've had this lineup on and stuff. So yeah.
Right. So even though you've been together since 2019, I like to count with bands like the 2 years of COVID out because, it's not like y'all were able to tour. It's the only thing y'all were able to do is practice. So, and I mean, some people were putting things online, but it wasn't just quite figured out. So, yeah. And so it's like, okay, so you've only had actually 3 years of kind of like being able to be out and tour and do things. And oh my goodness. I'm trying to find the music right now because today y'all put out on YouTube, you put out the song Run Me Down. And I think I might've been the first person to have listened to it online. But I don't know if you guys can hear this. Hold on.
I think I definitely listen to it while I was driving.
Do what?
I definitely listen to it while I was driving.
But you got to check them out. Peak Run Me Down. They're on YouTube, and you got to follow them online. And so, could you hear that while it was playing? Because I
could hear it. Yeah, that's from that's from our show at the 8x10 in Baltimore in January. So we're gonna have this month. We're gonna be putting out a majority of the shows that we played on the winter tour. So like we've got them mixed with the audio and the video. So like next week we're going to be putting out a few things from our show in Hartford, and then the following week some stuff from our show in Syracuse. So like highlights from the tour and stuff. So yeah, which is exciting.
That's really exciting. How was the tour? Tell us about it.
It was short. It was like 6-7 shows, so it's still a run or a short winter tour, but this was our best run ever. This it was in January and February. I don't know what happened, just sometimes things start to gel. Like you said, the band hasn't been together that long, so it's like you hit these new like levels because you're always working on it individually and collectively, but I felt like our live show had gotten twice as good as it had been a year before. It just certain things start all working together, and we were just having a ball on this last run. Didn't want it to end. We played a show with Neighbor up in Saratoga. I saw you had Disco on here. We played a show with them at Nectar's.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I love both of those bands.
And so we were playing with both those bands, and it was just packed house and just getting mixed in with those bands and being part of that energy. And we felt like we were playing well, and yeah, so it was really exciting. So
you guys, I definitely agree with you. You guys have gotten better because I've been seeing you guys for a few years now, and definitely, even though you were definitely good, but you're everybody really comes together well, even more so now than when I was first seeing you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard to pin down why or when that stuff happens. It's like one day it's okay, things are running smoother. It's weird. I guess just time.
I think that's the evolution of all bands, though. Like you can see even Goose, in the beginning of us seeing them, they were good, but now they're, you just hone in on that and you get each other's vibes and you learn each other better, which helps each other. You play better with each other, and each one of y'all are so talented and have had so much experience. And I was checking it out, like the different bands that y'all are in and different music, and each one of y'all have such talent and such a wide variety of music. And that's what I feel is so cool about y'all's band, is that y'all have such a wide variety of music that y'all each like and have brought that all together, which makes the most incredible jam scenes or jam out of it. And just the jam flowing today, like that I was watching on YouTube, it was really cool because I don't even know how to describe it. This is to get these wheels turning. So, but the piano part, the keys were absolutely amazing. And it was almost like into a waterfall, like a cascade into the guitar. And then it goes into this rad jam. It was like bluesy, jazzy, and goes into this sick jam. And I just was like, oh, I like this. I dig this for sure. And so it just gives you all of those good vibes, those good juices that you need to go on for the day. And I can't even say enough about it. Just makes you smile. It makes you happy. You can feel the love of the music, and you can feel how well y'all are vibing in that. So I haven't seen you in person yet, but I could definitely tell, just how much y'all are vibing right now.
Well, that's amazing. Well, I appreciate that so much. That makes our day to hear that. So that's incredibly cool. That's well described, the way you described that jam. And it's funny though, because we are, and a lot of musicians can be talented, have a lot of experience, but bands still have to figure out how they're going to do their thing. Doesn't matter how talented, it's like, and that takes time, it takes work. It doesn't matter who you are, which is an interesting thing. Cause we've played in the past, or I've played with other people. It's like, okay, this is cool, but why isn't it like here? Like we're all good. Cause there's just work has to be done. It's interesting.
Exactly. How would you kind of say like that interesting point talking about that? Like, how do you kind of get on that wave? Like, how do you find in the how do you find that
The-
wave that y'all all catch on to? How do you know
How do you synchronize?
yeah, how do you synchronize? Because jamming, just that, not having other people that go out, that's what people don't understand about our scene, is that this is a lot of it's improvised. A lot of it is not practiced before, or you have different keys, you have different things that you play, but not everything is the exact same, and y'all will go different. And so how do you get into that vibe with each other, with a whole crowd of people being over here, and then y'all have got to block these people out and just tune into this little group right here and listen to this, and make an amazing jam? Why you've got these people over here? Like, that just makes me nervous talking about it. Like, how do y'all do that?
No, that's the amazing thing about this scene. I mean, just big picture wise, yeah, you have songs. For any band's gotta have songs, but our scene, jam band scene, you have this whole improvised thing, which is like, yeah, more like jazz or something like that. But that's a good question, how to get better at. I will say that there's always like a honeymoon period when you have new musicians or a guest or whatever. There's always like, okay, this is amazing, we've never played together. But that, if you're a band that's going over year by year, that dies down, and you got to be like, okay, how do we get this to the next level? And I think that we work on it in rehearsal. You certainly learn what other people do, and then but you work on rehearsal. Fish famously has like the listening exercises. That's a big thing. You learn how to communicate in small ways musically. If somebody plays a little thing, I know he wants to go over here, and I also know that the bass player hasn't heard that yet, but he's about to hear it. So you build up like, stuff, but and I think every good jam band that I've ever talked to, like, has to work on it rehearsal. And working on improvising in rehearsal is a weird thing. It's more, you more have to work on like cues and like listening and all these other things. You can't actually, work on like the inspirational part, because you're going to be inspired in the moment, so you can't manufacture that. So you work on sort of everything around it, I guess, is a good way to look at it. And so if you have all those things in place, then hopefully it goes better. I don't know if that's a good answer, but something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. That's really cool, because I've always wondered, I'm like, how do they do this? And
how do you figure it out, or how do you know when to talk into the microphone that you can't?
We don't have one of those. I want one of those.
I know, that thing looks so cool.
I know. I would definitely end up talking into the wrong one at some point, and probably say some crap that I shouldn't say. Like, do you see that girl in the second row? Like, two guys are like, totally, yeah, y'all see that? That would be me. Well, something random. Don't give me a microphone like that. But
I will say this, Johnny's blind, our keyboard player. So, and he's blind. Yeah. And
that's so cool.
Which is crazy. So every once in a while, like, we'll be in a jam and he can't necessarily see what's going on. If it's like, maybe he's thinking we're going to go explore something, I'll be like, Johnny, everybody's dancing right now. Like, what I mean? Like, whatever. Sometimes I got to give him like so that we could use the mic for that. I understand why people have those mics, because it is cool to like, hey, everybody, let's have an idea or whatever. But we don't have one of those.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting to learn and hear. And then just another dynamic that makes it even cooler, and another thing that y'all, work around and make it work. And just now that gives me 1,000 more questions. I got to meet him. I got to talk to him.
I know. I was going to say, like, it's a shame Johnny didn't come on. He's really cool. And I honestly, admittedly, I had no idea he was blind for a long time.
You wouldn't really know.
You would never know. It really wasn't until I saw, I forget her name, taking the keyboard and putting it on the thing, and then me going, wait, what? These guys don't have enough money to have a staff. It wasn't until that moment when I was like, oh, wait.
Wow.
Outside of that, I had no idea. I thought he just wore sunglasses, because that's
when you watch
it. Wear sunglasses like Trev, like people just wear sunglasses. So yeah, well, that's really, it's just really inspiring. Makes you, you know, that's a very inspiring thing to just remind you every, you know, just the beauty in life and just having, you know, that beautiful music and just how much that means, you know. And so, but so what are your musical influences? I know that I saw that you like jazzy. Were you saying other earlier blues and jazz and or what is your music influence? Because a lot of blues and jazz will come into, you know, what is it, to jam bands. And because, and this is what I found, the timing of blues and jazz is super hard, and the timing of improvising and the way that y'all do that. And so I figured out that that's another reason why blues and jam and jazz is the big deal in the jam scene also, is because the timing is super hard. Just the instruments going at different timings and keeping it up, and it'll end up being like an exercising thing. Is that the same for y'all's band?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's fine. I don't even know. I'm sure other people feel like what to say, like with influences, like because at some point, like at least for me and a lot of musicians, like everything, like what, you know, I guess it depends, you know, what you grew up with, like, because at some point as a musician, I opened my ears to everything. Like I love everything, whether it's Bach or jazz or, you know, whatever, jam band, it doesn't matter. Jimi Hendrix.
If it's music, it's music. Yeah.
You know, good. I want to know about it. I want to learn it. I like it, you know, but for my specific, like when I was in my, you know, whatever, teenager, a kid, and I was like, you know, getting exposed to stuff. Yeah. Like I remember, Stevie Ray Vaughan and BB King. When I heard that music, like the blues, I fell in love with that. Made me want to play guitar. Like the Beatles, you know, Fish in the 90s. Like I saw Fish in the 90s. Like that was like happening in his prime then. Like that was a big influence. You know, yeah.
So what would your favorite jam band be?
Oh, she saw the Dead.
Well, I was just gonna say I saw the Dead like the like a few weeks before Jerry died in '95, when I was real young, and they invented this scene. I mean, this type of music, and anybody, you know, will tell you that. Like that's like Trey will say that. Like that's it's a form that Jerry Garcia invented. Like, and it takes the concept of jazz, which is like, you know, improvising on the songs, using them as things to improvise, and doing it in this setting. He would do it on Bob Dylan songs or rock songs or whatever. So that's like, we're all playing a form that he invented, you know,
right.
And that it was based on a jazz concept. So that's why, to answer your question, jazz is so important. And blues is like the formation, the way he formed the Dead, like the instruments, bass, drums, two guitars, keys, like that was based on a blues setup. And blues is the thing that rock and roll is based on. So it's all, those are blues is fundamental to all rock and roll American music, but jazz specifically, you mix that in with that and you get the jam band concept, you know.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you for like, I love that, because that's all I hear, but no one's like ever, you know, broken it down. I've only put my, like, you know, what I know about it together, but you just saying that like broke it down so much more. Just, this is okay. I understand now. Thank you very much for that.
That's what I look at, least.
Yeah, that was a good. I never really thought about it that way. That like Jerry Garcia sort of like, it's like we all say, you know, the Dead invented the genre, but like really, yeah, Jerry Garcia, he like masterminded this like way to play music.
He did.
It's crazy. Like you have certain people like Bill Monroe did it for bluegrass, and James Brown like invented funk. So like it's like these certain musicians just like come up with, hey, this is a whole style, and it's like that's like the top level. Like you can't do any better than that, you know. So
no, it's true. I mean, it happens today. Like you look at, you know, Pretty Lights and stuff like that. You know, it's just new. It happens.
It does. Yeah. I say a lot of times like the EDM is like the modern day classical music, you know, because it's well, some of it is like that has more of your techno and not as many words and stuff, that have like the chords and you can hear different ones. Well, that you could compare. I mean, it's not classical music that they're coming up with and writing, but I would compare it more to that style, like the modern day of that.
Yeah,
that style. So But what type of music, like, that's another thing that I always wanted to ask, like, you have your music that you're working on, that you work with your band on, and through the day, like, what type of music do you listen to, or do you go through phases of inspiration with people, or do you go through phases of styles of music, or what type of music do you listen to? How do you do your how do you do your playlist?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I think is one of the hardest things, like for being a musician and an artist, is like it's so much work. Like it's beautiful work, but like I'm constantly trying to find what I should be listening to, because I don't, I'm not going to listen to 10 hours of music a day. I have done that periods of my life, but like, yeah. And usually it's trying to find something I haven't heard before, often of artists that I already know, but revisiting things, trying to find new artists for sure. The songwriter in me wants to hear songwriters. So when I'm thinking in that way, or just whatever, like, I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, modern songwriters, whatever. I like Conor Oberst from the band Bright Eyes. He's one of my favorites. But like, for instance, I never listened to Bruce Springsteen that much in my life. And in the last few years, to be totally honest, like something about it, I wasn't my thing, but I was like, I'm going to try this again and see what's going on. And now I love it. Like, so there's albums that I've never fully listened to. I listened to, Born in the USA, fully, like whatever, like 2 months ago. Never really listened to it. Some amazing songs on there. His first studio album, Spirit in the Night, like I had never really listened to that song. So I was
That's
like,
a good one.
this is such a good one. So I'm hearing all these songs. And then the other side of it, like the improvisational side, I do listen to jam bands. I want to know what everybody's doing. Fish, Disco Biscuits, Goose, like all like what people are putting out. I want to hear the jams people are doing. So I try to, very interested in what people are doing. But as we said, like jazz stuff, like listening to, all the jazz greats, and also finding albums that I haven't heard. Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, and you name it. But anything. But yeah, so that's kind of. But it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. That's a lot more work than you would think, well, doing this and doing photography and stuff, but it's a lot of just to find your that's a lot. It's a lot. And then I can imagine also as a musician, just like, wow, all the things that you can't do, like you get inspiration from it, but you're like, oh, this sounds, and I've heard like, us talking about different songs, like, did you hear Ghostbusters in this? Or did you hear, and, I don't think sometimes that they meant to do that, obviously, but it just came across and it was like, oh yeah, that definitely was, this, or a tease of this. And so I like how they call it tease. I think some things are teases for sure, but it's really a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into just doing their. I don't know. I guess as we're younger, slacker musician. Oh, and it's like, no, you have no idea how much goes into writing a song. And since you are a songwriter, like that's another thing. I couldn't imagine. I'm not even good with my words, like how to sit down and write a song and, get those words through, and your songs are so beautiful. Like, could you kind of take us, is each song different that you write, or do you have a process that you use?
We've done it I've done it every different way, and it's always different. The more I do it, the more time and more focus is on the lyrics. And so I tend to do it in batches, and I think that's fairly true for a lot of songwriters. So like, once you open that door and you're like, I'm writing songs, they start to like come one after another, and almost to the point where it's too much. Sometimes you gotta be like, all right, I'm shutting this down. But the focus is on the words, and trying to get something that is, that you're looking for, which is not easy to do. It's a mix of like working on it. Oh, I have a little inspiration, working on it. I have a little, it's like, it's a lot of work.
Do you do like the the words, the lyrics, and the sound at the same time, or do y'all do like the beat of it and then lyrics later? That's always been a big question. I'm like, you know, how do you, or is it kind of together? That's a, you know, that's always, or I guess every single different way, just like you said, there are many different ways that you could put it together. But how does that usually work with you? Do you do words first and then music later,
So
or
it's like my focus is almost entirely like 99% on the words. Like I read poetry, I try to free write, I do whatever I can, I study lyric, you know, I'm trying to get something good, but at the same time, like music is almost easier. So it's like I can, me or other guys in the band or other musicians, it's pretty, can you come up with like a beat or something that's kind of cool. It's like I'm waiting on the lyrics, I'm working on lyrics, and as soon as you have, at least for me, as soon as I have an idea, lyric idea, usually the music like just immediately is just kind of like comes together, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it's not that it's, then there's definitely some work to develop that. That's usually the thing for me. If I just focus on the words, the music will come.
Right. Because
The
that
other way,
vibe kind of,
the other way is too frustrating because you can get music you really love, and I've waited years for the words to come. They never come. So
they
it's
never, oh, that's got to be agitating. I got
Yeah,
this sitting in the back, but I can't use it yet because I can't get my words to go with it. That would be something. Yeah. That's that.
but
I bet that would be hard.
but
And
for this band, like, because I write a lot of songs, so, and it's not that my ratio for songs for peak, at least these days, like I'll write 10, 15, 20 songs, and like 1 or 2 will be for the band, and it's I don't know why that is, but it's like a small ratio, like that are for the band, and the other ones I'll put on like a solo album, or I'll just whatever, nothing will come of them. But anyway, so that's something for the peak songs. The other thing for the songs for peak is that Johnny writes a lot of music and compose. So like I'll take a song that I have like the words and basic music to, and then he'll add like write bridges and riffs and instrumental melodies. Like he's very much in the composing, like music, writing music all the time, like compositionally and stuff. And his songs, he'll give me like the music, and then I'll put the words to that, like even when he has the melody complete. So that is a different way of writing. Like, you know, we do it that way too, which
that's
is
cool.
yeah.
This is, it's
Just
so
want to give
interesting.
a shout out to all y'all photographers too, because these guys have been killing it and just make amazing pictures, like, and have hooked us up with a lot of great pictures. So thank you guys, by the way.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie's the one. She's the one who's like us. Jamie's amazing. And just everyone will find out if they don't already know, they will find out. Jamie's absolutely amazing.
Same with Alexia. She's pretty badass, by the way. You didn't know?
No. But well, this is everyone. Y'all got to super check out Peak and go on YouTube, check them out, check their check out their videos.
They're so good. They're so well developed. They have such a great sound. Like that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, is if you use any pedals, or like what you do, any like what modifications do you do, even though I don't really admittedly know anything about this.
I always want more pedals.
Are there ever enough pedals?
There's never enough. I have one pedal board. I want another one, but we'll have to wait on that. No, I don't have too much. I don't have too much in the way of sound. Sound's a weird thing, because going back to Jerry Garcia, I know he's got some famous effects, but like the whole first 10 years of the Dead, he just played like a clean guitar, just a guitar plugged into amp, and he's like the most psychedelic guitarist ever. Like he didn't even have pedals for like the sound comes from the musician a lot of, even though their pedals are it's crazy, like, to think that, you know, like so a lot of the sound is, I like a clean thing, and just you give it your sound, like, you know, it's an amazing thing. Like BB King is gonna sound like BB King whether he's got a pedal on or not. Like it's right. It's an amazing thing to think about. But no, pedals are great, and I do love them, and I do want more. But I do my focus is I have a nice guitar, I have a nice amp, and I try to keep them both in good shape so you get the sound of the guitar as much coming through, you know, and then I can make that sound how I want if I'm playing well and the guitar is in good shape, you know.
And that's the thing I liked about like when I was checking you out is the sound was so clean and your voice is so beautiful. Like it's not you have a beautiful, clean, natural voice. It's just you don't have to put anything on top of it. You just have a gorgeous voice. It's really nice. And I was just like, and that's not something that you come across. It's sometimes you have to get used to people's voices. They're not just, you know, nice to the ear to hear. And I was just like, oh, this is nice. Like good beat, good voice, good everything. So good lyrics. And so, I mean, better than good. And that's why everyone's just definitely got to check y'all out. And that's why I was like, that's why I was asking how many years. Cause I was like, this band is definitely, we have got to get some spotlight on y'all because y'all are way too good. Y'all have got to grow.
No, seriously, way too good.
Yeah.
I've said that so many
way
times.
too good
Way
to
too
be
good.
to be this
Like
small. Like, y'all,
like your songs are so developed and they're so like you don't hear jam bands that have like really good songs. They're usually like playing to a lot more people.
yeah.
But yeah, you guys' songs are so.
You guys are very great. We're really truly I can't thank you enough for the kind words because we're you know, we're working hard every day to try to get ourselves out there more, and it's hard to stay together. It's hard to, you know, to get yourself out there, but we are going to announce some spring dates
Sweet.
real soon. Another, like, you know, not a ton, but we have like we'll have a good tour announcement hopefully next week, and we're trying to finalize our we did just release an album in January, like our New York City, our hometown album release show, which should be hopefully coming together soon. So yeah, so we'll have some.
I'm gonna have to come up for that for sure.
That's gonna be a party. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm always there for a party. And some good music. A party and good music, I'm there. I'm all for it. And oh man, what was I gonna say? Y'all y'all just like y'all have to grow. We have to I know what I was gonna say. For all the people watching, because we have our Floyd Fest fam. I know that they're coming up, adding artists. What artists would you like to spotlight? What artists would you like to see at Floyd Fest? Definitely put in Peak the Band because y'all definitely want to see Peak the Band there and Jeremy and his band. And Jeremy is actually from Virginia. So he would actually love to come back to Virginia and play in Floyd Fest is something we were talking about before the episode started. And that he said, I would love to play there. It's a dream to play there because I'm from Virginia. So Floyd Fest peeps, let's get Peak down here so that we can see them in August because I'm all about some Peak. And so I think that everyone would love y'all too. And so let's definitely do this Floyd Fest. Let's get some votes out for Peak and I'll put them on the list for us. So y'all vote and we'll try and get them down here with us and see us down south instead of up north. We'll get you down south with us.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Thank you, Alexius.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Well, hopefully it happens. Well, all the fans, y'all get out there and vote and stuff for them on Floyd Fest. So, and then hopefully maybe another few festivals that I know are doing it. You know, have you heard that? Like the festivals that do that, Jamie, have you seen like they'll put out and now it's like a thing that, you know, what bands would you like to see? And so they'll have it and it's almost like a bracket breakdown and then it's a voting thing. And so Floyd Fest does that. Yeah, I love it because it's the up and coming artist. And so who's up and coming, you know, and it's helping get spotlight out there into different bands that, you know, usually wouldn't get out there. So,
because it's hard to tell like who's, you know, who
exactly
pick or something.
Yeah. And since y'all are more of a northern band and it being south and, you know, just hadn't heard and it's like, oh, well, who, and that's a diversity. Let's throw some diversity in there from all the other music that we see and that's usually around. Let's get another band in there. So
absolutely.
But oh man, I'm super pumped. I'm so happy that I was introduced to your music and I can't wait to hear more of it and see more of it. So, but I guess Well, so now we're going to go ahead and switch. Jeremy, do you want to stay on with us? Do you want to chat with us? We're going to just do just a little bit of chat, and then we're going to end it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk.
Okay, cool. So, so I was just going to just quick chat. We were going to talk about Daniel Donato. Everyone knows, they were hearing, and everyone was telling me. So, Jeremy, I'll update you on the situation. So, my first Daniel Donato show, they were co-headlining with Eggy, and it was the first night of their tour. And one of the people had just had surgery on the Daniel Donato crew, and in the band, and so they weren't just feeling the best. And Eggy had opened up for in the co-headlining tour, and Daniel Donato comes out, and he's like, y'all, I'm just going to let y'all know that we're not even going to be able to compare with this. That we've had a band member that's had surgery, that's not feeling so great. And, and so we love y'all, please give us another chance. And I was like, oh man. And, so this was at the beginning of the show before the music even started. And, but the music was great. The cosmic part was great. The country part, I was kind of like, and, so, but then I was like, all right, I'm not going to make any judgments on anything, because I did not he told us from the beginning of the night that we weren't getting the best of, that we weren't getting the best of what his band had to offer. So I was like, I'm just going to withhold judgment on it. So we went this past weekend in Raleigh to their tour ender. And I'm so happy that I withheld judgment, because they were sick. I mean, the jams were so sick, and I will say I kind of still don't know how to feel it. Like, the jams were so sick. I think I'm more confused on the country and it's I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm all here for it. I'm learning it. So I guess it's a total different thing. Even though I know the country, even though I know the stuff, it's just, I don't know. And I'm happy it's not a Billy Strings. I'm here for it all. And he was sick shredding. And then the keyboardist, who is that, Sugarleg? Is that his name? But he was just as sick as a guitarist. And I was like, are you serious? I mean, he was just ripping it and shredding it. And so is Daniel. And super cool thing, my youngest child came, and then one of our friends' little boys came too. So we had King Keller and Princess Ara, and they were raging on the rail. Like, my little girl comes out with bloody knuckles, literally bloody knuckles from like raging so hard and like bouncing up and down and stuff. So I really just wanted to make sure that I said that, like, Daniel Donato blew it out of the water, because everyone's been like, you have to give him a second chance. You have to give him a second chance. So I was like, well, I didn't say anything to begin with, but yes, he is definitely a gem, and I'm all about this. I'm all about checking more of Daniel Donato out in this cosmic country, because that's the part that's confusing.
That part's confusing, but it's very technical. Actually, both the cosmic and the country part, like, it's surprisingly very technical, and everybody in the band is like incredibly technical, like. And their charisma, like, it just sweeps you away. They just are like, and they're so personable, the banter. Like, I wasn't at that show. I saw them last fall, but I was impressed. I was much more impressed, I think, at the Brooklyn Bowl show, just how personable they were. And they were,
and so humble, like, so sweet, like, that's another thing, is just no matter how big you get, we're all humans, we're all here, we're all the same. And that's what I love about him, is he's just so sweet and so soft-spoken. And, and I just love, like, just the down to earth, and still down to earth about it. Because we all know, doing what we do, photography, that for a little bit, we all get lost. That's a natural human thing to do. So, but they're just super sweet people. But Jamie, you were going to tell me something about the Disco Biscuits, huh? What were you going to tell me?
That's great. So yeah, Vinny and I, we went to see the Disco Biscuits. They played their 19th show at Starland Ballroom, 19th and 20th last weekend. And we went on Friday, and it was, let me tell you, a 7-song show.
Only 7 songs?
Yeah.
Seven.
The first set and the second set, they opened and closed with the same song.
Yeah.
Like they went back into the song that they started the set with.
They did 2 3-song sets.
Oh my gosh.
And
How sick
most of
was
these
it?
songs were like old school songs. Like the first set was Confrontation, was the opener closer, and the second set was Basis for a Day, was pretty incredible. We were just sitting there, we were just like, oh my God. I was like, wait, they've only played 3 songs, right?
Yeah, they were like really going out there, and like 2 of the songs were like almost 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Two other songs were like 25 minutes, and then there was like 2 like 20-minute songs too.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
did
they
any of the
were-
jams get repetitive, or were they just like just going, because sometimes when that happens, like I will say, like they'll sometimes get stuck in a jam and it'll like not just Disco Biscuits. I'm actually thinking of a Hunger Site song that I heard, just like it was like 22 minute and they got stuck for 4 minutes in the same, so, but I think I was hearing that some people were saying like that this show is like the show that you're talking about is like one of the sickest shows that,
Oh, it was so good. I mean, the
and-
lights, like, Herm Lights was just on fire. He was like bouncing the lights like off the ceiling, because it's like got a really low ceiling at Star Island Ballroom. It's kind of old, although they redid it, but it's like an old style venue, really low ceiling. So yeah, it was really cool what he was doing with the lights. So I'm sure there was some repetition in there, but it was like just
well,
so
obviously
good.
it wasn't that bad because everyone. There
And
has
what
to
was
be.
that sample?
Go ahead,
in
Jeremy.
I was just
Jeremy, what
going
were you
to
gonna
jump
say?
in here because that's really interesting. Like it's from the other side, like from the band side. Like there's a lot of trying to figure out how much are we going to improvise tonight. Like are we going to do a 30-minute jam, or it's like and Disco Biscuits, to their credit, like I do like that they will go that long. Like that's really long, and that's so I'm like, oh yeah, I got to check that out, and see what they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, you risk it getting boring or it being bad, and it's really tricky. Like we're always trying to figure out exactly to try to get the balance right, and it's you don't want to like not jam and be like, oh, we played it too safe and we didn't really.
Kudos to y'all.
That sucks. So, like
Yeah.
that's it.
From what I remember, they kept it pretty. Like it was
No,
like it wasn't really getting.
I'm sure the Disco
Yeah.
Biscuits did. I'm sure they were amazing, but it's so cool to have you, Jeremy, with us. Thank you so much for staying on to hear that, because we're always, how do they know? How can they do this? Like, how do you, in a 35 minute jam? Whoo, that's sick. That takes talent. And then also to make sure that they're not repeating, they're not repetitive. And then I would also like, even on here, sometimes I'm like, how do we move forward? So what you're saying, Jeremy, it's really true. Like, how do you know? And that's another thing, that you have to read your crowd and read your crowd and see, is it time to move on, or is it time to, so, but oh my goodness, I haven't seen the Disco Biscuits in forever, and I am dying to see them. I mean, it hasn't been a year, but it's still been over 6 months. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Too long. I can't live without music that long. I can't. But sorry. But anyway, Vinny, what was your favorite part of the show?
I'm relatively newer to the Disco Biscuits. I saw them for the first time last year.
Oh, Webster Hall.
At Webster Hall for their last album. They did an album release show. There was a part in the first song towards the end, I believe, where they started. Magner started sampling vocals from Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, that was sick.
Which was pretty cool.
Sick.
Like the chorus of Total Eclipse of the Heart. He just kept sampling it like repetitively, but like it fit the music. Like it was cool.
Man, shout out to Magner at that show. He kept crushing it. I kept turning to Vinny going, oh my God, Magner is like on fire.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check that show out. I've got lots of music to check out this week, and
Thank God for bugs.net.
So
that's part of it too. Like if you're jamming well, like that night or that week or whatever it is, that is a big determining factor. Like if the band goes into a jam and you look up and you look at the clock, you're like, oh, we just played for 22 minutes and it didn't feel like any time, then you're going to maybe want to do that some more. But if you look at the clock, you're like, okay, that was only like 8 minutes. All right, let's play another. You know what I mean? Like if it's going well, time just starts flying. You don't even notice that it's that long too.
Yeah. I'm like, Jeremy, get down here. We got to get y'all down here to the South. And seriously, people in the South, all my North Carolina peeps and down, like, yes, my Charlotte peeps, we got to get you down there. Jeff, if you're listening, let's get him down here. Let's, to Heist Brewery. We got to get you down here to Heist Brewery in Charlotte. Cause I know like our jam fam down here, like dying to get you down here. So all of us, check out Peak. Let's get them down here so that we can check them out. And y'all absolutely love Peak. And so we talked like way longer than I thought that we would chat tonight. It's been such an awesome conversation. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to like, yeah, I know time flies when you're having fun. Sorry, I'm going to have to cut us off and we're going to have to, move on to the next episode. So, but do y'all have Jamie, Vinny, do y'all have anything else that y'all want to chat about? I was like, am I forgetting anything? It's been insane here in North Carolina this week. If I seem off, I am off this week. There's been just a lot going on. And so, but Jeremy, I have seriously enjoyed, and you have helped save my week of chaos and just enjoying your amazing music today. Your Peak, and check them out online. It's at Peak the Band. And you're gonna love them. They have a website you can check out. They're on socials, on YouTube. You can watch their videos. Or y'all are on what is it? Y'all are on all the music platforms, Spotify, right?
Spotify.
Yeah,
SoundCloud.
Right. And so it is something that I will definitely say that you will not want to not add to your playlist, because
absolutely they are
so good. I'm just like, I thank you very much for coming on with us, Jeremy, and being here and sharing the goodness with us. And I can't wait to see you down here, because we're going to get you down south. I am bound and determined now. We're going to get you down here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks to Jamie and Vinny for being here. Jamie for hooking this up, and great to meet you. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. So,
yep. As usual, Jamie's the queen and gets it together. So thank y'all so much, everyone, for being here tonight. And we love y'all. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe on all socials and medias to the Jamly Chick and to Peak the Band. And we will see you guys later. Thanks for coming out. Bye, y'all.
Bye.